Do I have a motion to close meeting?
So moved. Second.
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Joyner, seconded by Counselor Day. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, certification, please.
Certification pursuant to Virginia Code 2.2-3712D, where only public business matters, 1, lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements, and 2, identified in the closed meeting motion discussed in the closed meeting. Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis, Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
Yes.
Okay. At this time, is there a motion to appoint Mr. Robert Gill to the Dock Commission?
Okay, second that.
All right, motion's made by Counselor Ellis and seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
I abstain.
Motion passes 5-0.
Okay. All right, moving on to our work session. Mr. Ward.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. Tonight's work session is a conditional use permit request to construct a single-family dwelling on non-conforming lots. There are two parcels, 0131595 and 0131600, located on South 19th Avenue. The applicant is Vets Housing LLC. These properties are located in Ward 5 and zoned R2. The minimum lot size in R2 is 75 feet wide and 7,500 square feet. These two parcels, when joined together, which will be a requirement before construction, will be 50 feet wide and 6,000 square feet. So the nonconformities are in both the width and the total square footage. The applicant's proposing to construct a one-story, single-family dwelling, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,352 square feet. And you have a floor plan here. Might be a little difficult to see, but it's a nice layout. Some elevations here of this one-story property. On the left is the front. On the right is the rear. And you have left and right sides. So the proposed dwelling is larger than the average homes there in the neighborhood. That average is 1,075 square feet. A lot of properties in that neighborhood already have vinyl siding, and the applicant is proposing vinyl. And of course, as required by the ordinance, the dwelling will meet all R2 setbacks. Staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit with our standard conditions, with the addition of combining lots 19 and 20 to make a single parcel. And then 12-inch minimum eaves along all roof edges, 20% tree canopy, driveway of asphalt or concrete, brick or stone foundation on all 4 sides, foundation plantings on the front, and that the house to be constructed will be in substantial conformance with the one that's been presented this evening. Planning Commission recommended 3-0 to approve this application. They kept staff's recommendations and did not change them. There were no comments received either at the public hearing or at the department, and I'm available if you have any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Ward? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Jordan?
evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of council. This is the July Finance Committee meeting. We're going to go through the July financials for citywide general enterprise as well as schools, the July collection rate, accounts payable paid and debt services, and cash flow for fiscal year '26, as well as the ACFR update. Citywide for July, citywide revenues for '26 are .13 or 1.2 million lower. Expenses for '26 are .87 or 2.4 million lower. A lot of that stems from some personal mills and machinery and tools tax that was received earlier, and 25 than it is in July. Okay. General fund for July is 1.10% or 715,000 lower in revenues. The decrease is due in charges for service, pilot, and transfers that have to be posted. So it's really not revenue that's being received, it's transfers that need to be posted within the system. Expenses for '26 are 7% or $4.8 million lower. Decrease is due to the quarterly transfer for the school's allotment. Last year, they seem to have posted the transfer earlier. Usually we do it once a quarter. Enterprise fund for '26 is .01 or 83,000 lower in '26 versus '25. Expenses are .04 or 478,000 less in expenses from '25 to '26. That came from our charges for services, just a slightly decrease in the billing, 83,000. And of course, expenses, because we're not doing emergency purchases like we were with enterprise.
The oxygen plant last year.
Schools for July, schools for '26 is 4.66% or 3.4 million lower in revenues. Decrease comes from quarterly school allotment to be posted in September. Expenses for '26 are 1.3 or 97,000, lower in '26 versus '25. All right, our data integrators collection percentage for July was 89%. There was a decrease in some wastewater collections, not by much, but some, but we expect that to pick up for collections for August. Late payments. For accounts payable for July, we processed 1,300 invoices and paid $7.5 million. We also paid our debt, which includes the schools, of almost $1 million, about $893,000, and sewer for $215,000. Our projected cash flow so far for us in fiscal year '26, we're looking at ending with about $25.6 million. This will be updated on a monthly basis as we manage our cash flow. Okay. ACFR update, we are currently working on fiscal year '23. That is due to be completed by September 30th. We have our weekly meeting on Friday. Are there any questions so far?
Everything getting submitted on time?
We're getting there, yes. We got everything submitted on time. The due date was July 31st. Everything was submitted from the schools as well as the city, except for their major fund Form 14, but that was done the following Mondays.
Okay,
Okay, great.
great.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving right on along to number 3, Mr. Bennett.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and members of council. Today, I would like to do a presentation, and this presentation is a summary report of a field trip, exploratory field trip that was done by members of the Unsheltered Committee here in the city of Hopewell. This report actually it took place last year. The site visit report took place last year. The reason why you are seeing it tonight is twofold. One, we came back and we shared this at several community meetings and at several of our unsheltered meetings, and we were able to, over the past year, work with several faith-based groups in the city who caught the vision of what you're going to see in this report, and they have put together plans that we're going to come and present to you at next city council meeting. So this work session is an introductory to that. The other reason why I'm sharing it is since we did this site visit and report last year, there's some new members of City Council who haven't yet had the opportunity to see the vision that I'm going to present. And so we'll go through this slide presentation and there'll be some commentary. What we're showing you is a model for a community-based services to deal with unsheltered and provide what I say is like full wraparound services. So this trip took place April 22nd of 2024, and we went to New Bern, North Carolina to see the Religious Community Services and their program, which has been in operation for roughly 40 years. The people who attended this was myself, Vice Mayor Joyner, Wanda Williams, who is the Director of Social Services, and Shante Wheeler, the Executive Director of Hopewell Prince George Healthy Families. The important thing to understand about Religious Community Services is that this really was something that grew out of the community, and it wasn't something that came from government down. And so it actually was started by this young lady that you see here in the picture, who has now since passed away. And she started in 1982 out of her station wagon in New Bern, North Carolina, pretty much providing what started off as just basic needs. They told us that she would make a big pot of beans and bread, and she would go drive around New Bern and give that to people that were in need. And from that grew this program. So in today's world, what they have essentially is transportation assistance, rent and utility assistance, disaster relief, recovery, emergency food pantry, prescription assistance, and then employment readiness boot camp that they have with Craven Community College that's on their campus. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The important thing that we were impressed when we were there was that this operation was not just one church, and actually it was the whole community that was using this facility as kind of a base of operations. They and it was many donors and many corporate and private individuals who are part of making it happen. But they had in 23 they had a total of 232 referrals to local partnerships. So the focus was on not just providing something immediately for the need today, but then helping the people to grow out of the situation that they were in. I put this slide here so that you could kind of see the proximity to where the services were offered and their central business district. And so if you look at this slide, you'll see the little thumbnail or the little pinpoint towards the top of the map. That is where they're at. And it was about 8 blocks to their central business district, walkable, and it was on the bus route as well. One of the interesting things about New Bern, similar to the city of Hopewell, it's also a waterfront community. It also has a similar size, geographic footprint and population. In their facility, and it wasn't a custom-built facility, it was actually repurposed some industrial buildings. They have several buildings together on this campus that handle all the different operations that we'll kind of go into. This next wall is a pretty powerful wall, and this is in the room where they do their daily meal. So they serve a meal 365 days a year, and those meals are provided by a group of volunteers all throughout the community. Some are just civic groups that get together, some are individual churches that get together, and they come in and utilize the kitchen and the facilities to prepare the meals for people that come in need every day for just the food assistance for a hot meal. This wall is a picture of what they call their B campaign, and the B campaign stands for Build, Engage, Empower. And this wall represents all the names of all the donors. And there's individual donors who, you know, it's just a person's name, and there's also people like Duke Energy on there. So it was a pretty wide array of community support that makes this operation happen. They're structured as a nonprofit with a board of directors, 14 individuals on the board of directors, and then they have day-to-day executive directors and staff. And what we found out is that they actually have for the operations, they always have a paid person that is working with a volunteer. And that's very important to maintain safety, and the paid staff has the particular training, and the volunteers have training. And then also, it helps to maintain the quality and compliance with the operations that are taking place. This whiteboard here that you see, that was right outside of the kitchen, and that's every day of the week for every month. And they have a name of a group, or whether it be a church, a nonprofit, or just a community, and that was the day that they had signed up to the volunteer to come and to serve. When I say serve, they may be preparing a meal that day. They could also be packaging food for the go distribution that's done. So we were very impressed with the way that the logistics were done and organized. They have the community kitchen that's operated every day between 6 and 8 volunteers. For lunch. On Sundays, they actually do a breakfast, but the rest of the week they do it as a lunch. And daily, they're feeding up between 100 and 120 people, and it's a no barrier to come in and to receive food. In another part of the campus, they have a Build-A-Bag boutique, and so this is where they have clothing. And as part of their job boot camp program, if you're in the job boot camp program, you essentially receive a voucher to go and get dressed for the job that you're either going to interview or do. So if you're in the program and you're going to go work in a food service, then you would get appropriate dress for that, including shoes and everything from the boutique. And then you would, if you were doing some type of professional services, maybe clerical or office, then you would get a similar type dress. So they try to match what the person's track is for workforce and employment with the Build-A-Bag boutique. And a lot of this is managed through donations of these goods, but they essentially organize them. In their shelter area, they have emergency crisis shelter. They have a separate area for veterans, a separate area for families, and then a men's overnight shelter and a women's overnight shelter. And it's kind of interesting, they're taking care of between 100 and 120 people a day in their feeding program, but if you look at their overnight beds, they only have 10 beds in the men's shelter and 10 beds in the women's shelter. And I said, how could it be so small? And they said the reason why is because that's just for emergencies. As soon as somebody comes into our program, we start connecting them to get them into housing. And I said, where are you placing them in housing? They said, we place people in housing anywhere that we can get them qualified and get them placed in housing. We place them in Virginia. We place them in South Carolina. We place them in Georgia. The important thing is to get people out of this situation where they're stuck in essentially this cycle of unsheltered condition, and to get them into a permanent housing solution. So that I was pretty surprised at how low the bed count was, but they manage it very well and have been successfully doing it for years. Now, in an emergency crisis situation, they can increase the beds and ramp up. So this is when they have really, really hard surges of cold weather. They can get to 27 in the emergency crisis center. I was really, really impressed with their family. They have a 4-unit family room, and in that family room, a whole family stays. So a mother and the children, or a mother, father, and children, and it's almost like 4 small, like suites, essentially. But they have a pretty strict program in that the families come in there. They try to get them in permanent housing as soon as possible, but they also have them working with a case manager to achieve self-sufficiency. And I think that's important that, when you talk about these type of programs, you got people, you got place, and you got program. And unless you have all 3 of those working together, then it's not going to really be successful, and you'll soon run out of resources. And so this is a statement from their webpage about their goal on improving the overall well-being of the people in the area. And the strategy to accomplish this goal is to employ the tool of client-centered case management. Once people come for the meal, they're encouraged to go ahead and stop in and check in at the front desk to go ahead and get essentially any type of track for services that they possibly can. In 2021, they were able to serve 74,885 individual case management hours through their combined case management services. And they have a whole software system that they track everybody, whatever the assistance is that they're getting. So their staffing plan, because I was very interested, how are you able to operate this kind of operation? So their staffing plan is essentially 15 paid staff and then between 6 and 8 community volunteers per day. You take that and you look at, between 20 and 30 different organizations having, some people serve more than one day a month, but you're talking about a large community involvement. And I think that's what's important. It's not just going to be one person or one individual or one group, but it's that there's an organization that the volunteers can plug into and can serve essentially and not have to do things siloed. They found in New Bern there was a lot of individuals doing things individually that were all good, but then when they were bringing them together in this campus, it was much more effective. So in addition to just those regular things, the volunteer recruitment, this is straight from their webpage. There are fun ways that you can get involved. You can come create a hygiene kit and goodie bag. You can serve in the community kitchen, or you can host a food drive. These are some of the different programs you have. And this is a picture of their food bank area. They actually go with their trucks every day and go to Publix, Food Lion, Walmart, Chick-fil-A, and others, and they actually bring back this the food, and then it's packaged. They have a big walk-in cooler. It's put together for distribution, and so they were able to fill in 2023 33,746 emergency food orders through their Operation Outpost, and so. This is another location where I could volunteer for the day to show up and be there when the trucks come in from Walmart and help take the fruit and sort the fruit and get that in the refrigerator. And so it's just more ways to serve. Let's see. So the community food distribution, they essentially take all on the one side of the slide. You'll see the inputs of the donated goods, and then they have these different locations. So every single week, they're going out in the community for the distribution besides the daily and emergency feeding. So the first Wednesday, they're at this pregnancy center. The second Wednesday, they're at a community center. The third Wednesday, they're at another pregnancy center. And then the fourth Wednesday, they're at a used car lot, essentially. And this is how they get the distribution out. With our food bank here in Hopewell, it's similar in that people can come to the Hopewell Food Bank once a month and get basically a large amount of food. And then, of course, there's other nonprofits that are doing different programs like the Free Food Friday, which is taking place in the parking lot across the street from the Beacon by Beacon Hill Church. So just some examples. And then I believe Beacon Hill Church also goes out to several other locations during the week as well. So I talked about and I just have two more slides, I'm closing. I talked about the boot camp readiness program, the job readiness boot camp program, and what they have there is the Craven Pamplico school actually came into so they have people from the local community college that are embedded in this location, and so they do this 6-step program to really, when you walk in off the street, step 1 is you're going to get 3 days of basic computer skills. Step 2, 2 days of gateway to employment. There's mock interviews, that whole process, career planning and assessment. Let's look at what you can do and how you can do it. And then helping you get your resume, economic literacy, and then employability skills. So that's essentially what I wanted to show tonight to you members of City Council and to the general public who are here that are watching. There's a city that's a similar size of ours. It's about the same population, and they have successfully over the last 40 years developed a program where everybody from the community that wants to have an input and can be a part of reaching and supporting and helping people get out of unsheltered condition and into employment and better in housing, that they can do that. And, we aspire to have something like that in Hopewell, and so that's why we've been working with the faith-based community here in Hopewell to inspire some folks to do that. And I'm looking forward to coming back next city council meeting and sharing with you a proposal that some of our local faith-based folks here who have seen this and other type programs have put together. So with that, I'll open to any questions that you may have.
Okay. Do we have any questions for Mr. Bennett? Okay. Seeing no lights, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we are ahead of schedule, so we will start our meeting in 4 minutes. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Parton,
Here.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Here.
Counselor Harris,
Here.
Counselor Ellis,
Here.
Counselor Day,
Here.
Counselor Stokes.
Here.
Okay. This time, is Reverend Blow here? No? Okay. I'll do the prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing everybody here today to participate in one of the longest running free democracies and republics here in the world. Lord, we thank you for all the blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Lord, we pray that you will continue to be with us and guide us, and we pray for your wisdom as we take care of the city's business. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. At this time, do we have a motion to amend the agenda? We need to remove or R1 and put it on the next meeting, so that way they can do their advertisement.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Counselor Ellis. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay, moving on to our consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Second?
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Day and seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Okay. Moving on to our information and presentations, Mr. Ward.
Good evening. I will not be giving the presentation. We have some representatives from the Green Infrastructure Center here this evening. They've been assisting the city with developing a community forest revitalization program. And I will let them come up and they can introduce themselves and give you the presentation. Oh, you're right behind me, okay? You're all set.
And before you guys start, can I ask you just to make sure that you speak loudly into the microphone? We have one member that's on that's virtual tonight.
Sorry, it's working on the full screen.
Hello, City Council. We are the Green Infrastructure Center, and we're here today to present the city's work on the Community Forest Revitalization Program and just give a general overview.
And this is Kendall Toppings, and I'm Jessica Huang.
Good point. We'd just like to thank our funders, which is the USDA Forest Service through the Inflation Reduction Act, and of course, the Virginia Department of Forestry. So just a brief outline of what we'll be going over today. We'll be going over a review of the program, our tree canopy analysis that we've done for the city, some of the outreach projects we've done, general projects, and then of course the strategic tree canopy plan and what are our planned next steps. So just a general review of the program. The City of Hopewell officially launched the Community Forest Revitalization Program with the Green Infrastructure Center in June of 2024. That's when this all began. And since then, we have hosted 9 workshops with city staff and community partners. We've gathered input from residents at various public outreach events. We've participated in these outreach events, be it farmers markets or school projects. And then of course, we've provided technical assistance to city staff. So we have done a tree canopy cover analysis of the city. This is when we used LiDAR as well as overhead imagery to compare the tree's canopy cover, which is just saying how much of the city is under the canopy of trees. And as of right now, you guys have 45% of the city is covered in tree canopy, and the other is impervious surfaces, grass, turf, buildings, things like that. We also did a surface heat temperature analysis for the city, and as you can see, the tree canopy has a direct correlation with surface temperature. Areas with the lowest tree canopy are often some of the hottest temperatures, which you see in red, and that can have a substantial difference in temperatures throughout the city. We also did an assessment of the potential planting areas in Hopewell. This essentially means turf and bare surfaces that is not otherwise being used for a different purpose. So for example, we did include golf courses, baseball fields, cemeteries, but general areas that are not currently being used that have room for trees. We also used this potential planting area and we did a heat and equity assessment on it. What this essentially is saying is that we compared the surface temperature as well as the median household income for these census blocks and compared them by priority. So in the red, the highest priority were areas with the highest temperatures as well as the lowest median household income. So these are areas that should be prioritized for planting in order to address tree equity in the city. We also did an assessment for stormwater retention. Trees are known and celebrated for retaining stormwater, slowing down rainwater, reducing flash flooding in the city. So we did an assessment to actually quantify this to see where the most stormwater is being absorbed by your trees. The darker the color on the map shows where the most stormwater is being absorbed. So Hopewell's trees on average absorb around 27 million gallons per 10-year, 24-hour storm event. So this map is also showing what areas we might want to prioritize for conserving to reduce flash flooding in the area. After doing these assessments, we decided to do some outreach with the public, not only to share this information, but to get their thoughts on what they would like to see done with the urban forest in Hopewell. This included the Hopewell Public Schools Family Resource Gala that we attended along with the Virginia Department of Forestry, where we gave away some trees and asked citizens to vote on what their preferred strategies for the city would be. We've also attended several farmers markets, partnering with the Downtown Partnership. We also attended Juneteenth, where we shared some of our information again with families, children, small businesses, just trying to get their thoughts.
And so all of the information from this program and some of the maps you've seen today is going to be going into this strategic tree canopy plan. So it'll act as a guide for the city to accomplish the goal for urban tree canopy. And it will include the tree canopy analysis that Kendall just shared earlier in more detail, more of the maps that are included in this program, that goal and strategies and action items that the committee has come up with. So we worked with city staff and community partners to develop tree canopy goals and strategies, and this was through workshops, that community input at events, and the data. So Hopewell's proposed citywide tree canopy goal is to maintain the current tree canopy at 45% over the next 10 years. This kind of just gives a benchmark for the city to be able to come back to say, how are we doing so far? What has the progress been like? And then I will quickly go over the 6 objectives that we've come up with for the city as part of this strategic tree canopy plan. So objective 1, increase tree canopy equity across wards to ensure all residents have equitable access to trees in public spaces. For 2, we're encouraging more tree planting on private property. Objective 3, building capacity for community involvement, education, and outreach. Some of this we've already started with the city. Objective 4, strengthen codes and policies to preserve and enhance urban trees. Objective 5, improve the stewardship of publicly owned trees. And the last one, to monitor and plan for the future tree canopy. So these 6 objectives, we have some action items underneath them, and I believe that was given to you all, or can be given to you all for a reference, just to see what this committee has come up with. And for our next steps, just having the council, the city review those proposed goals, objectives, and action items that will be included in this plan. The Green Infrastructure Center will be publishing this plan for you all and creating a good template for it that can be shared with the public. We'll be continuing to do some tree education outreach events, so we'll be at the River and Roads event coming up in September. And we are preparing to also help the city with a tree giveaway event. It says October, but I believe we're planning for it in September now, along with the Parks and Rec Department. So those are just the next few things to come, and thank you for listening to our little presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, are there any questions for these young ladies? Okay, seeing no lights. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move into now the city manager report. Mr. Rogers.
And I have our monthly report from the chief of police on crime statistics and some discussion after that.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of City Council. I'm here this afternoon to present the August crime report for the police department. And if we go to our crime summary, we'll see that violent crime in 2024, we had a total of 53. In 2025, we had 2 more, which is a total of 55. So our violent crime, as it stands right now, is at 4%. And if you look at our murder, rape, robbery, and aggravated assaults, you'll see our forcible rapes is minus 25%. Our robberies, I mentioned at our last meeting that those robberies were non-business. They was individual robberies. And it's 12 reported, and I checked today, 1 will be reclassified because it was not a robbery, so it'll be 11. And of those 11, there had been 7 arrests been made, and 1 that we have obtained warrants on that individual, but it has not been served. So once that warrant is served on that individual, of those 11 reported, 8 will be cleared by arrest. Aggravated assaults, happy to see those numbers continue to reduce. In 2024 was 44. It's down to 37 this year, -7. So we're down on aggravated assaults, -16%. And we go into our property crime, arson. We're still at it's 3 in 2024. In 2025, it's 3. So that hasn't changed. Burglaries. I'm happy to say that it's -3 compared to 2024, and a total of -16% decrease. In our larceny category, you will see that in 2024, it was 181, and then we're down to 152 this year. So that's minus 29 incidents. So we're down -16%. In our motor vehicle thefts, I'm happy to report that it's continuing to decline. I remember last year this time we was talking about the Hondas and the Kias and the incidents we was having with motor vehicle thefts, but I'm happy to report that we have 48 less incidents, so we're down -67% in motor vehicle thefts. So in total, our property crime we're down 29%, and our total major crime is down -24%. I'll move on to the next slide. Our opiate overdoses, still like to report that over the past, since we've been reporting these, the numbers continue to be reduced. In 2025, we have a total of 3. Fatal, non-fatal was 20, fatal was 3, non-fatal was 23, and grand total of 26. So we're still at record lows in those categories of the opiates overdoses. And I contribute that to distribution of Narcan, emergency response officers getting there, fire, police officers getting to the scene in a quick fashion that we're able to, if necessary, to administer Narcan, and also the new law to hold the drug dealers and distributors of distribution offenders held accountable for distributing the fentanyl. So I say that's some major reasons why we have a reduction as well. Shots fired, 2024 we had 35, and 2025 currently we have 39. Officers, we continue to address this, and one of the things that is beneficial to us is if we have a verified shots fired, that we send out a Hopewell alerts. And when it's that Hopewell alert squad, it notifies citizens, officers in the area, be careful, in going through that area. Officers are getting out, looking for evidence of shots being fired, knocking on doors, speaking to neighbors, and getting the word out, engaging the community, and doing what we can to prevent these random shots being fired. Neighborhood watch meetings, really nothing has changed on our neighborhood watches, so we'll move to the next slide on our hiring recruitment. We have 39 applications. It has been received, including 1 certified applicant. Currently, we have 12 sworn vacancies. And then I reported last month that we have 4 officers in the academy. They started July the 7th, and all is well so far. In our background investigations, we have 7 in background, and 2 dispatcher applicants are in background. Recruitment banners stays the same. Community policing officers' awards staying the same. In our downtown engagement, we are continuing with the foot patrols, business checks, citizens contacts. The Beacon Theater overtime continues for the month of August. Traffic enforcement on Randolph Road continues. The Sheriff's Department has been a great benefit in enforcing the speeding on Randolph Road, as well as the police department. And lastly, the bike patrols are still scheduled for the month of August. Our community engagement activities, the 3rd annual Protect the Peace event, which was held this past Saturday at Hopewell High School. It was from 10 to 5. Understand they had the basketball tournament and outdoor water events. It was a good turnout. On August the 28th and the 29th, the Cover the Cruiser events is for Special Olympics. It's scheduled from 9 to 12 at the Wawas. The first event will be in Hopewell Wawas. And the second event, it will be in Colonia Heights. So the 28th, Hopewell, the 29th, it will be in Colonia Heights. The community engagement officer, the commissioners, HRAJ commissioners meeting was this past Monday, August the 11th. And he was able to go by and give them information about crime stats for the month of July. And National Night Out is scheduled for October 7th. More information will be available. The block captains are meeting not on the 11th, but this coming Thursday. They'll be meeting at the police station this coming Thursday to talk about National Night Out and make arrangements to say where the location will be. And the goal is to have it be in a combined National Night Out event. And we're just gonna figure out the times and the location and what the plans are. And the Ward 4 Neighborhood Watch Kickoff event is scheduled for August the 16th, this Saturday. And the times are from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Our community engagement officer, Reed David, will be there. We've been requested to bring our grill and cook hot dogs. So he will be there. Also, our daylight officers will be attending the event to engage the community. Crime reduction and traffic enforcement during the summer months continues. Additional officers continue to work the peak hours. They've been still conducting outdoor roll calls in different areas of the city, conducting foot patrols in business and residential areas, engaging the citizens, handing out brochures, crime prevention tips, and how to report crime and ensure that the addresses are visible. So that, late at night and after dark, that we can find the address quickly. The speed trailer, speed monitoring covert device, and the information trailers are deployed throughout the city. And the complaints on speeding, the recent complaints have been on River Road, Pickett Street, and Colonial Drive. And that's what we've been focusing on. the updated city ordinance and the pursuit policy that we had updated. I'm happy to report and continue to report that we're seeing reduced calls for service in regards to the dirt bikes and the mini bikes, and that's happy to report, and I contribute that to getting the word out, updated policy, and hopefully it continues. And we still have several interdictions planned for this summer. One interdiction was completed and was successful over the past month. And some other dates will be determined, and it will consist of traffic enforcement, focusing on criminal activity and serving outstanding warrants. That concludes my crime report, and I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. Are there any questions for the chief? No. I'll just make a comment. Thank you and all of your men and women for all that they're doing. These are great results. Whatever you guys are doing, just please keep on doing it. You're getting, like I said, just wonderful, wonderful results. Something that, and this might be some discussion maybe between police, fire, EMS, and public works. But as an avid runner, I notice things when I go out running in different communities and when I go away for military training. But a lot of communities are starting to put in, they don't call them speed bumps anymore. Apparently that's a terrible word to use, but they call them speed humps. And I guess the pitch is a little bit different than what a bump is. But that might be something worth exploring in our neighborhoods. I think you mentioned Pickett Street would be a good one that probably could test that out. Could possibly test out some of the other streets over there in the Battlefield Annex area. But just something worth, I think, exploring.
Well, that was brought up because the issue of the speeding on Brown Avenue, and I looked at the speed humps possibility, and I have to work with the city attorney because I think it was something in the charter that we have to look at because the issue with I discussed this with fire department as well, and was concerned about response times.
Right.
So I'll work with the city attorney and see what we can do to work toward if we can get that approved through city council.
Yeah. Mr. Harris, okay.
I got a question about the street that I live on, Reverend C.W. Harris Street.
Mr. Harris, we can't hear you.
Sorry. A question about Reverend C.W. Harris Street. 18-wheelers. They're forbidden on the street, but they constantly ride up and down the street. Has anyone made you aware of that other than myself?
No, sir. No, you have brought that to my attention, and we will be. I would be talking with command staff to see what we can do to speak with the industrial staff in that area that you live in to find out what we can do for what the city ordinance says, and work with the city attorney to see what we can do to address this continuing issue with those 18-wheelers in your area, and I'll be reporting back to you what we can do to help reduce that issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none. Thank you, Chief.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move into our communications from citizens piece. Madam Clerk, will you please read the statement?
A communication from citizens, period, limited in time to 30 minutes, is part of the order of business at each regular council meeting. All persons addressing the council shall approach the microphone, give their name, and if they reside in Hopewell, their ward number, and limit comments to 3 minutes. No one is permitted to speak on any item scheduled for consideration on the regular agenda of the meeting. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body. Any questions must be asked through the presiding officer. Any person who makes personal, impertinent, abusive, or slanderous statements or incites disorderly conduct in council chambers may be barred by the mayor from further audience before council and removed, subject to appeal to a majority of council. See Rules 405 and 406.
Okay, thank you. The first person that I have signed up for tonight is Laura Greenwood.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I brought my notes so I don't get over my 3 minutes, so. I'm in Ward 6, and Yolanda Stokes is my representative. As y'all know, I've been trying to reach her and have not been able to. So I'm here again today, and I apologize for having to keep showing up. The issue I'm here to speak to about today is in regard to the proposal of Charles Bennett and the Marina Restaurant and Pavilion he wants funds for. I've gone ahead, you know, I'm a marketer, so I've been out and about, and I've spoken to many people, over 50 people within my neighborhood. Whoever has that laundromat across from the high school, I've been in there and spoke to people there in Food Lion and other localities. Over 50 people I've spoken to. And what I've turned around and I've asked them about this, because I'm curious to know what everybody else has in mind. And I said, the questions I have to ask, I asked them, I said, would you like to have a restaurant at the marina? Answers were no, and what for? Those are the two big answers. Do you realize do you realize if it goes in, that'll be taxpayers' money that builds it, and all supplies, all materials, including insurance, utilities, salaries, staff salaries, state and local taxes, plus the maintenance, health department requirements, etc. Answers were, there's no need for it when we have the boathouse just up the driveway. I don't want my tax money going to that. Others' concerns were told to me, we need something that serves all of us, not just the boaters. Many comments on the conditions of the river were made and the smell of the industrial plants. They don't want that kind of experience when eating. And this is what they're telling me. Then I told them about the pavilion Mr. Bennett wants to put in. The majority of the people didn't mind a small one be put up for the boaters so they can have a place to have a picnic, and the possibility of a 20 by 40 with grills so they can sit there and grill their fish up. While others said, we already have a park across by the federal prison, which I'm not familiar with because I haven't been over there. I asked them if there was one put in, would they utilize it? Over 98% of them said probably not. Repeated the park was already there across town. I asked them about having food trucks there. All agreed that food trucks were the way to go during the boating season. This is the city, this way the city can charge the food trucks $100, $200 to come in and set up and let them.
Your 3 minutes is
Is it really?
Yes, ma'am.
Good grief. Let me just fit one last word.
Okay.
This is what I tell my marketers when I address marketers and give them heads up when they're out there dealing with their clients and so forth. Never underestimate your person you're talking to because you don't know them, and you don't ever underestimate who they know. It's really a good thing to go by. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next person that I have signed up is Kevin Randisi.
One little sign so everybody can
Put it
read
right in the front.
I'm Kevin Randisi. I don't know what ward I'm a part of. I own a building on 206 North 2nd Avenue. I actually live in Richmond, but I decided to come down tonight because I have emailed you counselors, I have emailed the city manager about the issue that I have the sign right there, which involves the B-poll tax for the professional services. And I feel that the city of Hopewell is going in the wrong direction. I think it's best stated by a quote from Ronald Reagan when he said during his inaugural address, he said that in our present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem. And I could not think of a more accurate quote than right here in the city of Hopewell. We have a BPOL tax rate right now that is 290% higher than what it is if I got out of this building and walked 1 mile into Chesterfield County and opened my business. And as a result, we're seeing businesses just flee out of Hopewell. A lot of them. A lot of them have left, and a lot more are going to leave soon unless this council does something quick and starts it starts competing with the surrounding counties instead of letting Chesterfield and Henrico and Prince George take every business out of the city. We have, in Chesterfield County, the rate for professional services is 20 cents per $100 of revenue. In the city of Hopewell, it's 58 cents per $100 of revenue, in excess of $12,000. So to put that into perspective, a professional service business that makes $500,000 in revenue in the city of Hopewell pays a tax of $2,900 just to renew their business license. If they took their business to Chesterfield, they would pay a tax of $30. Tell me where you would want to operate your business at. I think it's pretty common sense. So I'm hopeful that, you guys read the stuff that I send you. I don't know if you do anything with it, or whether you laugh at it, or whether you just don't care, or whatnot. But we're seeing a lot of vacancies. We're seeing a lot of crime, and where's the police officer there? I'm really sorry that the police have to deal with stuff like this just because we have a poor business tax policy. And that's all I gotta say. I'll leave that there for you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all that I have signed up tonight for communicate. Oh, okay. Mrs. Evgolis?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, members of the City Council.
Can you just make sure that you're speaking in the mic, Mr.
Okay.
Evgolis?
This is it right here.
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Usually I never had to use a mic, but in any case, I'm glad I saw what was going up here, under communications from citizens. We know you have a 3-minute allowance, but we also know that any council member can make a motion to extend that, to give that person more time. And when you shut off somebody in the middle of a conversation, it doesn't look good on council. It makes us, I sat up there for 16 years, so I'm very familiar with it. But we had a thing on the agenda, and I was going to bring this up, but let me back up. My name is Anthony J. Evgolis, better known as Tony. I reside at 3003 Riverside Avenue in Hopewell, Ward 3. I happen to have been watching the local news networks on television about 3 weeks ago, and I heard where a department or assistant manager or director of water renewal was making comments that we're going to need to raise the rates up, sewer rates, maybe 40%. And I think when one of the council persons asked a question of him, he replied that that's because of a lack of maintenance over the years. So I went down 2 weeks ago, and I went with the dispatcher, and I said, I'd like to speak to the city clerk, probably either the city manager or the city mayor. I mean, not the mayor, but the city manager or city attorney. And I said, something's come up, and I want to get on the agenda under CCR, which y'all don't have on here. So she called up, and I think the manager was busy, and I think the city attorney was out of town or something. And I says, well, it wouldn't do any good for me to ask the clerk, fill out a written form to be placed under CCR on the council agenda. And I said, so here's my cell phone number, and also have text message. So would you have one of the three call me? and then I can have a conversation with him, because I see this is a pretty serious matter going down at Water Renewal. So she took that information. Well, I didn't hear anything back from anybody. So I decided to come down here tonight under Communications of Citizens. And I hope that you can grant me a little time. I want to explain something to you. I served on the Water Renewal for 12 years. I was the longest serving councilor to be on the wastewater commission then, which they call Water Renewal now. And we had the 5 industries that participated in that. And at that time, myself as a councilor and as a mayor, because when I became the mayor in 2000, I didn't appoint somebody else. I figured they had their plant managers there, so maybe the mayor would be the proper position there. So I stayed on there for 12 years. Now, the 5 industries, they couldn't build. They had, by the government standards, the EPA and all that environmental, they had to each build a wastewater treatment facility. So the idea came up, let Hopewell build it, because Hopewell can get grants for it. And by getting these grants, then the plants could come in. You know, they didn't pay to build it initially. Hopewell built it because they couldn't get grants. We could get further grants and straight grants. Well, we used to have septic tank drivers from all over the area come there and dump their septic tank loads. And the city made over $1 million a year from that. Then some of the managers down there, when I was at the meeting, and again, at the meeting was certainly me and the city attorney, or the city attorney and I were 2 votes, and you had the other 5 members, so you had like 7. But the city manager could sit in too, so we actually had
Mr. Zevgolis,
3 managers.
Your time is up.
Yeah.
But I encourage you to please make an appointment, because I think that your historical knowledge would be great in talking with our city manager.
I spent 1 full year every week down there when the plants wanted
Yes,
part
sir.
of the income coming out of there. The plants are responsible for 90% of all the cost
Yes, sir.
down there. Hopewell's only responsible for 10%, and all of a sudden they're gonna raise the rate by 40%. And where was the person in charge down there? He's got to notify that it was a problem. The city attorney, you can't
Mr.
blame the city
Zevgolis.
attorney, you can't blame the
Mr.
manager.
Zevgolis, would you please, just make an appointment with the city manager, and that way you can pass along that institutional
Well,
knowledge to him?
can I ask why y'all see under citizens' concern, Mr. Mayor?
Because we're going to have.
It says
this-
other council communications. Why don't you have this CCR?
Mr. Zevgolis, your time is up.
Yeah,
Please have a seat.
but I would still have to talk to council about
Please have
CCR.
Please have a
Okay.
seat, Mr. Zevgolis.
But this is exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. All right. Moving into our public hearings tonight. Public hearing number 1, Mr. Ward.
Good evening once again. This is the first of, I have 3 public hearings this evening, so I'll be as brief as possible. You are familiar with the first 2 because they were presented to you at a work session at the last meeting. But moving on, the first one is conditional use permit request to construct a single-family dwelling on non-conforming lot known as parcel 0420475 located on Spruce Street. The applicant is Baptiste Development LLC. Properties located in Ward 6. Current zoning is R4. This is a map here on the left showing an aerial of the property. On the top right is a zoning map, and then on the bottom right is a general location map of this particular property. Lot size and minimum lot size in R4 is 50 feet wide and 5,000 square feet. This particular parcel on Spruce Street is 55 feet wide but it totals only 3,795 square feet, so the nonconformity is in the square footage. The applicant is proposing to build a 2-story, 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath home at 1,440 square feet. Some elevations here. The proposed dwelling is larger than the average single-family dwelling in this neighborhood, and that average is 1,022 square feet. Applicant is proposing vinyl siding, which is consistent, and of course, the dwelling will meet all district setbacks. Staff recommends approval of this conditional use permit application with the following conditions: the 12-inch minimum eaves along all roof edges, minimum tree canopy coverage of 20%, driveway of asphalt or concrete, block or stone foundation on all 4 sides, foundation plantings on the front, and essentially substantial conformance with the designs as presented to you this evening. Planning Commission recommends approval of this conditional use permit request as well. They agreed with staff's recommendations. We have not received any comments about this application, and I'm available for any questions if you have any.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Ward before we open up the public hearing? Okay, hearing none, go ahead and open up the public hearing. I do not have anyone signed up on this public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak on this public hearing? Okay, hearing none. Public hearing is now closed. At this time, do we have a motion to approve the conditional use permit request to construct a single-family dwelling on non-conforming lot parcel 042-0475 as presented tonight?
So move.
All right, motion's been made by Vice Mayor Joyner and seconded by Councilor Ellis. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Public
you.
hearing number 2.
We'll move on to number 2. Second public hearing this evening is also a conditional use permit request. This one relates to the construction of a single-family dwelling on non-conforming lot known as parcel 0670065, also identified as 1121 Delaware Avenue. The applicant for this CUP is George Fetko. This property is located in Ward 2 and zoned R3. Again, we've got our maps with the aerial, the zoning, and the general location map. In the R3, minimum lot size is 50 feet wide and 5,000 square feet. This particular parcel is 40 feet wide and 4,000 square feet, so the nonconformities are in the width and the total square footage. The applicant is proposing to build a 1-story, single-family dwelling, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,232 square foot home here on this lot. So elevations here, left and right. Floor plan and front elevation. The proposed dwelling is larger than the average single-family dwelling in this neighborhood, and that average is 1,189 square feet. Again, we have vinyl siding that's consistent with other homes in the neighborhood, and of course will meet all R3 setbacks. Staff recommends approval of this conditional use permit with our standard conditions. That would be the 12-inch minimum eaves, the 20% tree canopy, driveway of asphalt or concrete, brick or stone knee wall on all 4 sides. This it specifies knee wall here because this property or this structure will be built on a slab. Foundation plantings along the front foundation and essentially substantial conformance with the designs as presented to you this evening. Planning Commission also recommends approval of this conditional use permit request with the same conditions. We have not received any comments, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions before we open up the public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Stokes.
How many other single dwelling houses surround that particular address?
How many other dwellings?
You said it was bigger than, it was larger than, the other houses surrounding it. So how many is surrounded and how many feet from the curbs?
So this particular property, I don't have the staff report in front of me, but it has houses on either side of this particular parcel. And there are homes all up and down this block. So does that answer your question?
Located in Ward 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go ahead and open up the public hearing. I don't have anyone signed up for it. Is there anyone that would like to talk on this specific public hearing? All right, seeing none. Public hearing is now closed. Do I have a motion to approve the conditional use permit request to construct a single-family dwelling on a non-conforming lot, parcel 0670065, as presented tonight?
So moved.
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Day and seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes. Counselor Stokes,
I hear you. I'm gonna abstain.
Okay,
motion passes 5-0.
all right.
Thank you.
And public hearing number 3.
The third public hearing this evening relates to a zoning amendment request, and that request is to amend Section A of Article 6, which is the R4 residential apartment district, to add museum as an allowable use to the district. The applicant here is actually City of Hopewell Planning Commission. R4 districts are located in essentially all the wards of the city. They're spread all around the city. The applicable ordinance is Section A of Article 6, and again, the request is to add museum to this district. This amendment request was initiated at the June 5th Planning Commission meeting at the request of staff. And just some quick background here, R4 is the residential apartment district, but it does have other non-residential uses currently already allowable in the district. And that would be, of course, you have your residential uses, but parks, playgrounds, recreational facilities, churches, kindergartens, and daycares are also currently allowable uses in this district. The comprehensive plan notes that the city should support calls for valued cultural, artistic, and historic resources throughout the city. Staff supports the zoning ordinance amendment for the following reasons. Essentially, this is being requested on behalf of Weston Manor. They have plans to add some new buildings and create somewhat of a historic campus at their existing property along the river. It is zoned R4. And in order for, they are essentially non-conforming to that district as they are and would not be allowed to expand unless this use is added to the R4 district. So thereby by adding this use, Weston Manor and their plans would become conforming to the district. R4 does support low-impact cultural amenity as an allowable use, and rezoning to another zoning district just is not appropriate for this property. The only other zoning district that would make sense for this property would be TH1, but because of the way our TH1 district is written, that applies specifically and only to the City Point area of the city. So when taken to Planning Commission suggested that conditional use permit be added to this as a requirement. And we had quite a bit of discussion about that, and actually I came around and agreed with that assessment. It is the most prudent way to proceed by adding this use to the R4. I don't think there's a real risk of someone opening a random museum within an R4 neighborhood, but you never know, and it's better to be on the safer side, and so I ended up concurring with Planning Commission, and they do recommend approval as long as you add the conditional use permit requirement. We have not received any public comment, and I'm available for any questions. You may realize we have not, this is the first time you've heard this. We did not do a work session on this. This is in the interest of time because of the applicant. They have some plans to move forward and really do need to have that zoning in place. So we jumped right to public hearing. I would understand, of course, asking for action this evening, but would understand if you chose not to take that action.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Ward? Okay, seeing no lights, we're going to go ahead and open up the public hearing. I do have one gentleman signed up for tonight, Mr. Tom Wagstaff.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Council, City officials. I'm Tom Wagstaff. I live at 104 Peter Francisco Drive, Ward 3 here in Hopewell. I also serve as the president of the Historical Hopewell Foundation, which actually owns Weston Manor. I cannot say enough thank yous to the Planning Development Department, Mr. Ward, and his staff that have worked so hard on this. They have given numerous advice, helped their architect come up with some plans that are just absolutely fantastic. I would like to say we would be very, very happy and very appreciative if we did not have to worry about conditional use permit. Now, while we are a historic organization, we do run Lunch and Learn, which is actually happening right now as part of our services. We do a concert series. We did spring, and we will do the fall this year. And we are really getting ready to help this building get in there. We do not have any public restrooms. If you've ever been to Weston Manor, this building will allow us to have some public restrooms. And we have an advisor, Dan Robbins, who's designed the building and actually helped design the two dependencies that are there now. That we might want to put some other buildings on the property that are of historic use. Return it to that what was when it was originally built in 1789. So that's all I have. Again, thank you very much for considering this.
Okay.
Any questions?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wagstaff.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to speak on this specific public hearing? Okay. None? Public hearing is now closed. Mr. Ward, with the adding the museum with an approval of a conditional use permit, due to the nature of them trying to expedite this, can that be something that's waived, or can a conditional use permit be expedited?
We could skip the work session with you all again, which saves a month worth of time. But typically on these applications, we would do a work session. But that's up to you. If you wanted to go straight from Planning Commission public hearing to City Council public hearing, that would save a month. So you're looking at like a 2-month time frame to get a CUP approved. Yeah, Once it's in the if you approve it with a requirement, there's no way to waive it.
Okay.
Either it's there and required, or it's not.
Okay. Is 2 months, Mr. Wagstaff, going to hold you guys up tremendously, or I'm not sure what you guys' timeline is.
We're trying to be as soon as possible, but we can live with 2 months.
You can live with 2 months?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So can you start expediting that and get to work on that for
I'll
them?
speak with Mr. Wagstaff this week.
Okay,
We'll
thank
get
you.
that rolling.
Thank you, Chris.
All right, is there a motion to add a museum with the approval of a conditional use permit as an allowable use in the R4 residential apartment district as presented tonight?
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion's been made by Counselor Day and seconded by Vice Mayor Joyner. Is there any discussion? Seeing no lights, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Joyner,
Yes.
Counselor Harris,
Yes.
Mayor Parton,
Yes.
Counselor Ellis,
Yes.
Counselor Day,
Yes.
Counselor Stokes.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you.
All right. We moved the school appropriation to next month now. So our next regular business item is Mr. Sanderson.
Good evening. Again, Jimmy Sanderson with Davenport & Company, financial advisor to the city. I've got a presentation that was in your agenda package. If you pull it up. But just by background, maybe I'll start. We had some conversations with city staff and understood there were some urgent capital needs that the city needed to look at, and really charged us with going out and trying to find a way to get some lenders to come to the table. And again, as we know, we're still, although saw some progress on the audits, which is great, that's an issue that we would see. And so if you'll flipped a couple pages ahead, we wanted to go and look at two things: the traditional lending market, as well as maybe an alternative funding source. The traditional lending market, we did have some conversations there. The ultimate end of that was the concessions that the city would have to give were, in our view, a little too steep and not worth pursuing. There were also no guarantees that they would actually make a commitment at the end of the day. The discussions with them were also on a much smaller amount. Again, we're talking about $2 to $10 million worth of funding. Maybe we could have gotten there on the $2 million side with a local lender, but again, it would have required some concessions that I wouldn't have recommended the city move forward with. We did also speak with Cruz and Associates. A member of their firm is here, RT Taylor, who I've known for probably 25 years or so as well. So we spoke with this firm, and RT in particular, and they had a sort of a novel idea, and that was that they could do their underwriting based off of unaudited financials of the city, looking at their banking reports as well as other due diligence that they could do in conjunction with staff, but then sell some debt to sophisticated lenders in particular, even maybe on a limited basis, but it would be a type of a public offering, but would be using unaudited financials. One of the key ways to do it, in their view, would be to get bond insurance. That's something that we used to do in pretty regular form. We would go out and you purchase insurance. That lender or that insurer will insure the bonds. So if Hopewell weren't to pay, the insurer would pay on the bonds. The reason that works well in this instance is the ultimate lenders would be looking to the insurance company, and the bonds would be rated off the insurance company's rating, not the city's, because we don't have a rating. Cruz certainly would still need to do their due diligence. Obviously, I don't want to skip that part. That's important for them as well. But it certainly seemed plausible and one that their firm thought they could accomplish. We have had experience with them before. It's not like they're a firm we haven't dealt with across Virginia. I think most recently with Petersburg and Bristol, both of which had their financial challenges, and they were able to do something for them. Go to the next page if you would. We looked at a number of different scenarios for you, but just to start at $2 million, $5 million, or $10 million of borrowing and debt, we looked at it over a 20-year amortization with the typical 10-year par call, which is very common, which means you can refund your bonds after 10 years at par, no penalty. Before that 10 years, there's really no ability to refund it on a tax-exempt basis. The bonds would be general obligations bonds of the city, which would require, obviously, further action of city council, public hearings. We're showing you below a little bit of what this structure would look like. One of the other things that I would add, this doesn't include any structuring, and you may remember in some of the other reports that we've given you, you've got a fairly large step down in your debt service out in 2028. And so one of the things we talked with Cruz about was, could we structure the principal to begin to start in FY28? You have to pay interest before then, but the principal wouldn't begin until FY 2028, so it would have very limited impact on your budget because your debt service already drops off by $1 million that year. So we showed you below, if you look at the table, 2 million, 5 million, 10 million. The true interest costs, very similar, 4.6, 4.7, 4.7%. It's a good rate, tax exempt rate, obviously. We put in there estimated cost to do the transaction of $350,000 across the board. Again, that's an estimate. I think one of the main things I want to point out is that that really is not going to change on how much you borrow. It will a little bit, but not much. So if you were to borrow just $2 million, it's going to be a much larger impact on your overall borrowing cost than if you were to borrow, say, $10 million. The debt service in FY26 on these would be about $100,000 impact for $2 million, $225,000 for a $5 million borrowing, and about $425,000 for a 10-year borrowing. Once we get to the level debt service, so once it levels out, you can see at the very bottom it goes from $180,000 to just north of $825,000. And again, if you're looking at the $10 million number, $825,000, we could layer that into where your debt service starts to drop off in FY28 and have no impact on your budget. Next page. Again, we had some conversations with staff and your manager and wanted to bring this to your attention. I think with your approval, not asking for a resolution or anything, but with your approval to move forward, we would work on getting the unaudited information to Cruz and Associates, let them do the due diligence. We'd have to engage your bond counsel, which is outside counsel that provides the tax opinions, and make sure we go through the right process that we need to do to provide that general obligation pledge, because that would be important. We need to set up a schedule of public hearings and ultimately come back to you for a formal approval, what would follow after a public hearing. So you'd have to adopt a formal ordinance or resolution, whatever the lawyers tell us you need to do. But the first step would be to just sort of get your input, see if it's something that you're interested in, and again, happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Are there any questions or comments for Davenport?
Yes, I think this is a tremendous possibility for us, and I appreciate our CFO working with you and our city manager. I hope that this works out for us.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, and I'll say the same thing. This is just a huge opportunity for us that we can get caught up on some major capital projects, infrastructure-wise, out in the neighborhoods that have been unfunded for so many years. Also, especially down there at the wastewater plant that needs a lot of investment down there. I mean, this is really wonderful, and my hat's off to both you, Ms. Jordan, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Crocker, working together, to make this happen. It's something that the city's, has asked for a very, very long time. And, it feels good that, as we're getting closer and closer to the end of the tunnel, getting those bond ratings, getting those audits done, one step closer to getting a bond rating back, going through and doing the diagnostic test to see roughly where we are. This is really just fabulous news for the city. And I know folks probably aren't as excited as probably some of us that see the issues every single day, but this is really, really good work. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So I think let me make sure we get a consensus. I don't want to leave this meeting. Is everyone okay with them moving forward with this?
Yes.
Okay. I am too. Ms. Stokes, are you? Counselor Stokes? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, just one other thing I'll add. We can set up the approval process at, say, the $10 million number, but we can get direction at a later date as the exact amount that you want to do, just from a publishing of the notice of public hearing and all that. But again, that doesn't mean that we can't do a smaller number if that seems appropriate to you.
All right.
Okay?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. All right. All right. Mr. Rogers, I didn't mean to cut you off accidentally when you were doing the police report. Did you want to give an update on the search, or do you just want to wait till next meeting?
I'll wait till next meeting.
Okay. All right. Reports of the city clerk. Do you have anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Let's see. And that is it. That is a wrap. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned.